Lawmakers make landmark visit to Shanghai, but it's overshadowed by Leung Kwok-hung's departure. And Pope Francis asks for forgiveness over sexual abuse.
Good evening. A majority of the pan-democratic lawmakers who are visiting Shanghai refused to participate in events slated for today. The trip has been marred by the departure of Leung Kwok-hung of the League of Social Democrats last night. Evelina Leung begins our coverage.
The first stop of the LegCo delegation today was the Hongqiao Business District. Chief Executive Lun Ching-ying also joined them. They visited the railway station there, then boarded a train to take a closer look. The group then visited an aircraft manufacturer and boarded a replica of the mainland's first domestically produced commercial jet. Only 3 pan-democratic lawmakers joined today's events: Joseph Lee, Charles Mok, and Ronnie Tong. The other pan-democrats who refused to take part issued a statement today, accusing mainland authorities of not respecting freedom of expression. Leung Kwok-hung left Shanghai last night after he tried to highlight the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown. Tong said if he had not joined today's events, he will be making a political statement as well, and that is not his purpose of coming to Shanghai. Pro-establishment lawmakers, meanwhile, believe the delegation should make full use of their trip. Legislators and the CE held a lunch meeting with the Shanghai Communist Party chief, Han Zhang. Han pointed out the 2 cities have a close relationship and hoped there will be more cooperation in the future. The CE agreed with Han. The lawmakers will meet with top central government officials tomorrow to discuss political reform in Hong Kong.
The meeting tomorrow has never been meant to be conclusive. It is a chance for members of the legislature to exchange their views with officials who are in charge of Hong Kong affairs. And I think that's exactly what's going to take place tomorrow.
Evelina Lang, TVB News.
Leung Kwok-hung and others have hit out at mainland authorities over what happened in Shanghai last night. They say the central government's failure to listen to dissenting voices shows it's not really willing to discuss political reform. Joao de Silva has that story.
He was among the first pan-democrats who signed up for the trip, and he was the first to return. Leung Kwok-hung landed in Shanghai but never made it past customs at the airport. Authorities there searched his luggage and found items relating to the 1989 Tiananmen Square crackdown and calling for the vindication of the student movement. Leung said Shanghai customs would not agree to let him in, even if he were to surrender the June 4th T-shirt that he was wearing. He also said he was told to surrender all his belongings. The legislator declined and flew back to Hong Kong. Leung said Hong Kong people shouldn't have to bend over backwards to talk with mainland officials. In a show of solidarity, fellow pan-democrats Sid Ho and Peter Cheung decided to leave Shanghai as well.
The Tiananmen bloodshed is a reality. It is a fact that happened 25 years ago. And so regrettably, that people cannot face what they have done. If the local government here cannot even accept different opinion because of what they have done 25 years ago, then it would render the meeting meaningless.
Responding to the controversy, the central government's liaison office expressed regret that Leung had decided not to go ahead with the trip. And Civic Party legislator Alan Leung, who was supposed to join the delegation in Shanghai, is staying in Hong Kong.
If you say that the Honourable Leung Kwok-hung's crave for the June 4th event to be redefined and revisited is a dissenting voice, then our call for civil nomination is also as much a dissenting voice. Now, if it is demonstrated by the way that the Shanghai authorities were treating the Honourable Leung Kwok-hung, that there is not enough of genuineness in the engagement, then perhaps this is an occasion that we would give it a miss.
Another Civic Party lawmaker, Ronnie Tong, who remains in Shanghai, had this to say about Leung's decision.
Well, it's a decision that he makes. It's a decision that the Civic Party has made. Obviously, I have to accept it. Whether I have a different view of the matter is irrelevant.
The Civic Party said even though its legislators made different decisions on whether to attend tomorrow's meeting on political reform in Shanghai, universal suffrage is still their common goal. Joan Da Silva, TVB News.
To other news now, the most expensive search operation in aviation history continued today with still no sign of the missing Malaysia Airlines plane. Now 34 days into the operation, and Australia's Prime Minister expressed confidence that the area they're searching is black box worthy. A Chinese military aircraft and other planes from Australia and the U.S. return empty-handed after another day of scouring the Indian Ocean for any sign of flight MH370. As worries grow that the black box batteries are dying, Australia's Prime Minister expressed confidence searchers are right where they need to be.
There have been numerous transmissions recorded, which gives us the high degree of confidence that this is the black box from the missing flight.
He says as soon as the black box battery ceases to emit signals, an intensive underwater search will begin.
It's our intention to then deploy the submersible, which will conduct a sonar search of the seabed and based on the sonar search, attempt to get a visual on wreckage.
In Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia's acting transport minister agreed with Abbott's assessment.
Any lead, and this might be one of the more cautiously optimistic lead that we have, because the signals are similar to a black box.
As to what or who may have caused the plane's demise, Malaysian police have expanded their investigation. After ruling out foul play by at least the 227 passengers on board, they're now scrutinizing the mental status of personnel manning the plane. Authorities won't divulge if the theory that the pilot flew a suicide mission is true, but they are following up on leads that Captain Zahari Ahmed Shah was having major relationship problems.
The United States has blocked Iran's selection for its envoy to the United Nations. It informed Iran it would not grant a visa to Hamid Abu Talebi, a member of the group responsible for the 1979 takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran. The move comes after Congress passed a bill barring his entry.
We have obviously expressed our views directly to the Iranians as well as to the United Nations. There's been a fair amount of reporting on this nominee, or this selection, and the concerns expressed in the legislation that we've talked about today reflect our concerns about this selection.
The rebuke could stir fresh animosity as Washington and Tehran seek a thaw in relations. The envoy has played down his role in the embassy takeover. Pope Francis has asked forgiveness for the evil of priests who raped and molested children. He also became the first pontiff to accept personal responsibility for the sex crimes. But it still isn't enough for some victims' advocates who want to see concrete action taken. Alan Booknia reports.
Pope Francis made his comments to the International Catholic Child Bureau, a French Catholic network of organizations that protect children's rights. Speaking softly and deliberately, Francis deviated from his text. He said he felt compelled to take upon himself all the evils some priests inflicted upon children. His off-the-cuff remarks are the latest sign that he has become sensitized to the gravity of the abuse scandal. Last month, Francis named 8 members to a commission to advise him on the best practices to combat sexual abuse. 4 of the 8 are women. one a child victim of sexual assault by a priest. But a director of the Survivors Network of Abused Priests, or SNAP, says the pontiff's words are not enough.
He's doing nothing but continuing in the patterns of his predecessors. He's continuing by forming committees, by making apologies, by asking for forgiveness. And he's also following in the path of his predecessors by not doing anything, by not punishing anybody.
Pope Francis said sanctions must be imposed on abused priests, but did not specify whether they would be church-imposed or involve criminal charges. The church has been accused of merely moving known offenders from parish to parish instead of defrocking them immediately.
The only thing that would solve all of this is if the Vatican turns over everything they have to external civil and criminal authorities, and if they punish wrongdoers.
Pope Francis's comments on abusive priests were excluded entirely from the Vatican television edit for its audience, and not made public until media outlets requested the full video of his speech. Alan Bookney at PBB News.
There's still a lot more to come in our newscast, as Barack Obama nominates new health chief. A fatal motorcycle crash in Tai Po. And Bubba Watson on fire at Augusta National.
What is honor? Dying for your country, killing your daughter because she had the audacity to get raped.
How's his team treat an army officer charged with treason?
He's a coward. EEG was normal because he was faking it.
I can't feel my leg.
He's not faking.
Monday, House at 10:40 on Pearl. World Cup Brazil, Tournament of the Strongest, is supported by Macau Government Tourist Office, Samsung, Success Finance Group, 4Cs Group, Vita Lemon Tea, Fujifilm X-T1 digital camera.
Why this watch? This watch has seen triumphs at Augusta, and past masters roll back the years. It's witnessed victory under pressure, and celebrations worth the wait. It's seen players become legends and champions born. It doesn't just tell time, it tells history.
Food arrives.
Her primary food source for the rest of the summer and the fall is right here.
But staying off the menu is key.
The greatest threat to her cub at this point is another bear. This is potentially dangerous.
Tuesday, Great Bear Stakeout on Pearl Spectacular.
Welcome back. U.S. President Barack Obama has nominated his budget director to replace Kathleen Sebelius as Health and Human Services Secretary. Sebelius was blamed for the disastrous rollout of his signature health care law. It's a strategic move, with Republicans planning to exploit Obamacare in upcoming midterm elections. NBC News reports.
It was an appropriate metaphor for the woman who has been at the center of the healthcare rollout firestorm, a goodbye glitch.
And knowing they can take care of themselves and their families. Unfortunately, a page is missing.
Glitches aside, the president praised Sebelius for steering the sweeping health reform into practice and for enduring lots of heat.
She helped guide its implementation, even when it got rough. She's got bumps, I've got bumps, bruises.
But the president said it's the final score that matters most, the 7.5 million Americans who have signed up for health insurance, exceeding their 7 million goal and giving Sebelius a high note to go out on.
Madam Secretary.
But there had been hints for months that her job was in jeopardy. In an interview back in November during the darkest days of the health care rollout, the president questioned her management skills.
Still have full confidence in